Bruh, it's Aaron, and today we've got a 2022 Subaru WRX. This is all new, so the WRX was last updated in 2014. It was long overdue for a change, and wow, what a great change it is. Let's check it out. Hopefully it's slightly less windy on the mic when I stand over here. Anyway, it's a cold February day here in Wyoming. At any rate, 2022 WRX. Biggest change is under the hood, 2.4 liter turbo. That's the usual boxer style or horizontally opposed engine. It puts out 271 horsepower, if I'm remembering that right. I will double check it. And get a load of this color. This is the greatest color ever. These will be available in about a month, so we're getting really close. Most telling, it will first be available with the 6-speed automatic. The continuously variable automatic will not, or 6-speed manual. Yeah, 6-speed manual transmission will be available first. It will be a little bit before the continuously variable transmission or the automatic comes, which is telling for this car because the take rate for that manual transmission in this particular model and its brother, the STI, is very high. People love that manual transmission in this car. So let's look at the side profile. We'll talk. I don't think I'm going to talk about the trunk, just know that it's big. And then I'll talk about the interior, and if you keep your eyes open, you may or may not have already seen there will be an interior walkthrough for this car as well. So nice. Let's get to it. So looking at it from the side, you can see the profile is almost the same as it was before. It's very, very similar. It's still a sedan only. There is no hatchback for this anymore. But you can see that the overall silhouette has not really changed too much. Couple of differences here. The intake on the hoods feels a little bit higher up. I don't know if it is, but it feels like it's a little closer to the top of the hood there. That's kind of a cool thing. In this particular case, I don't think it's functional. Opening the hood, I don't see that it's functional. It looks pretty closed off, but it's cool looking. On the STI model, that would definitely be functional. You can see around the wheel wells, they went a little more blocky with those wheel well covers or wheel well edgings. I don't know what to call them. So you can see they went a little blockier with those, so they're a little more kind of aggressive looking. And then you can see kind of the fins they put on that front one. You can see that on the back end there, sort of like brake coolers. They're not functional either, but they look cool. And then you can see the wheels on this particular one are really awesome looking. They're really cool. There's a lot of wheel options for this car, so if you go to the configurator, you can definitely play around with those and see what there is. Color options are pretty cool too. I really like this one. It kind of grows on you. When it's dirty, it looks different than it does now when it's mostly clean, but it kind of gets darker when it gets dirtier. So a really cool look there. There's also some cool stuff like the stitching on the interior with WRX details and stuff like that. And then you can see the overall profile in this simple lines. The lines are deceptively simple because there are more lines than you think there are. Let me walk into the picture, give you some size perspective. So I'm battling the wind, I'm sorry about that. So you can see this line right here is very, very subtle. It's not really, really harsh. It's you have to look for it to see it. This line is a lot more prominent. That's what creates this right here to kind of make the fender up front. And then you can see, of course, this kind of almost boat prow, but not quite. It just comes to about here and fades. There's one above. So it's a beautiful look on that. And then the way this carries is it fades a little bit just as this one gets started, and that creates this oval for the greenhouse there. So you can see that's kind of cool. And then down here there's this really deep inset cut to make a very sharp angle right there, and that accentuates the running boards down there, or rockers, depending on how you want to talk about them. And then you can see that this line here that carries across faintly gets deeper as it comes, and then fades again and creates that kind of curve towards the back. So All-wheel drive is standard, of course. It is Subaru. And this rear fender kind of accentuates that a little bit, also accentuates just the sport car feel of the car. So you can see how large it is. It gets very bulky right here, which is a really cool look. The pillar gets a little bit wider. You can see it right there. But it, interestingly, from inside, does not impede visibility. You can actually see pretty well out the back of this car. And then this has the little sport fin on the back and a few other details. It's a really good looking car. There you go. That's kind of that. Let's look inside. It's hard to get a good angle because of the way the door opens and stuff, but anyway, this is the interior. So this seat is set for me at 6'3" sitting up front. Because it is a manual, I have it a little further forward than I normally do, just because I feel more comfortable if I have a little more knee bend to run all 3 pedals. But even if this were an automatic, it would only be back another inch. I would still have a finger width or so of clearance on my knees, so that's pretty good. Headroom is a little tight. I'm bumping at the top. I'm hitting that sharp curve of the roof is really prominent right here, and I'm hitting it. But somebody a little bit shorter than me would be fine. Seats are actually more comfortable than I expected, but I will say ride quality back here it's okay. It's a sports car. You can't expect long distance comfort in a car like this. It's made to go fast and be fun. But I am really actually kind of impressed with how nice the interior for this car is. Let's go up front and check that out. Up here in the front of the car, I have a lot more room, plenty of headroom. I've got 1.5 inches or so there to spare, and just a much nicer feel. So sitting right here, I have good access to all 3 pedals. They're not too close together, so my big feet aren't grabbing the wrong pedal every so often, which can happen in some cars. Nice shift throw on this. It's beautiful. I just drove the 2022 BRZ as well. Same beautiful shifting. It's just a nice, smooth movement. It's very difficult. These have a very, very positive clutch, which means when you push that clutch in, you distinctly feel the difference between pushing on the spring and physically disengaging the clutch. It's a very, or engaging, I don't know what the term is, but it's a very positive feel, and that's a good thing because it gives you, as you're driving, it gives you just intuitive feel of when to move the gear lever and when to just let off the clutch all the way. When to totally release, move your foot, release it. It's a nice setup. Subaru's always done a good job with that. So that feels really good. The dead pedal is exactly in the right spot. So when you take your foot off, you have a place to put it that's right there and very, again, just intuitive. It feels really good. Nice amenities in here, decently set up. I probably shouldn't have the climate on, but whatever. I really like this setup. I like this giant new screen that they've done. There's a couple things that bother me. I'll go through those in more detail when I do the walkthrough for this. Mostly it boils down to a lack of hard buttons for some things, but the screen layout and responsiveness is very good, so I really do like that. It's exactly the same system that I have talked about in the Outback before. That's where I believe it debuted there. It debuted either there or the Legacy. I don't remember exactly which. But it's a nice setup. I really do like that screen. And I just like the feel of this and the visibility. The side mirrors are just the right size. The rear view is pretty good. And your over-the-shoulder visibility is much better than I would expect from a car of this size. So nicely done there. I really do like this vehicle. And this particular package, Harman Kardon stereo, and it's nice. Okay, so there you have it. That is the 2022 Subaru WRX. Bruh. I feel like I'm supposed to say that because I feel like that's the cliche market for these things, right? all the guys who say bruh all the time, wear the hat crooked and whatever. I don't feel like that's who buys this car, honestly. The people that I see driving this car are not the people who do that. The people that do that, they're probably driving like the V6 Challenger. That's a put down. Yeah. Anyway. I'm just having some fun. Okay, that's it. 2022 WRX. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon. Subscribe.